Hello, my name is Cyrus and you're welcome to Tumtum Network. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. In today's episode, we are looking at a topic which has to do with visa situation in Africa. So it's in the news that Ghana and South Africa have both signed a bilateral agreement in terms of visa waivers for both countries. This is interesting. It's supposed to take effect from November 1st, 2023. It covers both diplomatic and normal passport holders, whether for business or for visit. And this is the official communication as found on Ghana High Commission-South Africa.com. And let me read through that for you quickly. So the heading is Visa Waiver Agreement between Ghana government and South African government. And it has the High Commission of the Republic of Ghana on top in Pretoria. So this is the real story. The High Commission of the Republic of Ghana in Pretoria wishes to inform the general public that the Republic of Ghana and the Republic of South Africa have entered into an agreement on a visa waiver regime for holders of ordinary passport of both countries. Travelers to Ghana and South Africa may transit through, depart from, and stay in the territory of both countries for a cumulative period of 90 days without recourse to work in a year. Should the 90 days be exhausted within a year, which is 12 months period, from date of entry, ordinary passport holders are required to apply for visa to enter either country. At the port of entry, travelers will need to provide proof of accommodation, ability to sustain themselves whilst in the prospective countries, and a return flight ticket. The agreement takes effect from 1st November 2023, stamped by the Ghana High Commission in Pretoria, South Africa, dated 19th October 2023. So this is the official document from the government of Ghana on the official website. And it was also reported in January of this year that South Africa and Kenya had similar thing effected. And President Ruto of Kenya has also announced that from 31st December of this year, he's going to remove all visa restrictions into Kenya from all African countries. And this is actually in line with what some of us have been preaching for quite some time now. So if you look at how ECOWAS is set up right now, we have visa waivers for all ECOWAS countries up to 90 days of entry. And I believe there is a similar thing in the SADC countries in Southern Africa. So is this going to be the next big move in Africa, something sustainable into the future? It is something that we are all hoping for. But normally I would have problems with people who wouldn't want other African nationals entering their country. I mean, don't flatter yourself. People don't just move, okay? For your information, people move based on issues such as economic reasons, to flee conflicts, to join other family relations for educational purposes, and even for health-related issues. So people don't just wake up, pick up their bags, leave their comfortable setups, and then travel all the way to other countries if they have nothing seriously doing in their own home country. So this idea that when we open borders, people will just be flooding other countries is not actually true. It is not true. And tell me this, among these reasons for why people actually migrate to other places, which one of these is so unacceptable for you in order to deny somebody from entering your country? For instance, when you see refugees travel from one place to the other, would you actually prefer that they stayed in their home countries and perhaps died? Would you want that situation? I was in this conversation with a Congolese friend some time back. And as the conversation progressed, all these thoughts started coming to my mind. Would I rather prefer somebody stayed in their home countries, a conflict zone, and rather died, or got raped, or had some part of their bodies amputated? Is that what you would wish for another African national? Really? I believe strongly Africa is a big place enough to accommodate all of us, even in just one country. So we shouldn't make a big deal of people trying to find place of peace and comfort when their own places are on fire. I don't think you would want your mother and sisters to stay if your own home country was on fire. To me, what is more important is the rule of law. We should allow the laws in Africa to work. This is more important than all these things that we keep talking about. Because after living in China for so many years, I came to understand that we can all live in Africa in our own different countries and have open borders where people can travel and do businesses across the countries without being tagged as foreigners and harassed or intimidated in any shape or form, where things will be done properly according to the laws. China by far is the most peaceful country that I've ever lived, including my own home country in Ghana. China is way more peaceful than in Ghana. How are they able to do this when they have such a huge population? A population that is way more than the population we have in all of Africa combined. Yet they have peace, they have people traveling across the country to do business. And I believe strongly that we can maintain our sovereignty as countries within the continent of Africa and yet open the borders, obey the laws, and let people do business across the nations. And for me, this is what I appreciated the most from living and working in China over the years, that their laws worked. And the bigger their population was, the more advantages they enjoyed. It was a big economy, a big population, and a big market. And as a result, they have big government, big infrastructure, and big everything. So businesses thrive. And remember, business has to do with purchasing power and population. This cuts across every economic theory. For instance, if you go to China and they produce anything within the country, they are not in a hurry to look for international market. That is not their number one priority. Their first priority is their internal market because it is very big and very convenient within the nation. It is one country, they don't need any visas. They only have to put them on trains and send them from one part of the country to the other. And that is exactly how it could be done in this part of the world. On holidays, their transportation mediums from airlines to trains and buses are usually sold out. And they are not traveling to other countries. They are traveling within their country. And that industry they have created in their country is worth trillions of US dollars. It's a massive industry which we can also do the same thing here. I mean, think about it. Why would you spend so much money traveling to some country out there when you could also travel to so many beautiful places you have no idea in our part of the world, in Africa? Have you been to Zanzibar in Tanzania? Have you visited the pyramids of Giza in Egypt? Have you been to the Kalahari Desert in South Africa? There are so many beautiful places you have no idea exist on this continent. If it is snow that you are looking for, you could find it in Tanzania, in South Africa, or better still, you can go to Lesotho. There is so much snow up there on their mountains. What I am proposing is quite simple, that we maintain our sovereignty as countries like what they have done in Europe. But we have one currency in Africa. We open the borders in Africa, and we have one military in Africa. I mean, these are the only things that I'm like pushing actually. The moment we open the borders, the next thing that will be imperative will be transportation. And that is when we'll have to construct railway lines cutting across all of Africa. And that will trigger a whole lot of developmental projects as a result of that. Picture this in your mind when Africa becomes a bloc like in Europe, where we have one currency, one military with all borders opened, and we have rice and grains from Nigeria and South Africa, tomatoes from Morocco and Nigeria, cocoa and cocoa beverages from Ivory Coast and Ghana, potato from Algeria and Egypt, all dairy products from Kenya and Egypt, fish from Egypt and Morocco, and so on. And share with me where you think all these other commodities will come from within Africa. Steel, timber, oil, leather, and cotton within Africa. Which countries will be producing all these? I think you know them already. I think there are far better things ahead of Africa when we work together as united than in isolation. Africa must have open borders, one currency, and a military. We can certainly do this while we maintain our sovereignties as countries. I salute the governments of Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa, and all the other presidents of Africa who are in support of open borders for our great continent. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment if you have to. Until I come your way again, God bless you, and it's bye-bye for now.